Thus far, you have learned to add and regroup using base 10 blocks and drawing. Today, you're going to learn something different, a special trick that will help you solve problems without using base 10 blocks or drawing. This trick is called a strategy, and it'll help you to remember how to solve challenging addition problems. So what are we going to do today? That's right, we're going to learn a strategy to help us without using base 10 blocks or drawings. Why do you think that learning to solve addition problems without using base 10 blocks or drawings is important? That's right, because we won't always have base 10 blocks or drawings to use, and it could help us to make sure that we are adding quickly. Let's take a look at Learning Sheet 6. Is Learning Sheet 6 different than some of the other learning sheets we've used? It is, isn't it? This sheet contains the steps to the strategy I was telling you about. The name of the strategy is the rename strategy. Can everybody please say rename? Thank you. Each letter of the word rename will help you remember certain things to do when solving addition problems. Sometimes when you are solving addition problems, you will be regrouping or renaming 10 ones as 110 or 10 tens as 100. You will be able to keep this sheet and use it when you need it. For now, let's talk about the 6 rename steps in detail. Step 1. Read the problem. Read the problem means you look at the problem and say it to yourself aloud. When you read the problem, you need to pay very close attention to the sign in the problem to be sure you know what the problem is asking you to do. In math, different signs tell us to do different things. For example, in addition, what is the sign that we would use? Right, a plus sign. We would use a plus sign when doing addition. What about when we're doing subtraction? That's right, we would use a minus sign when using subtraction. And what does this sign tell us to do? This one tells us to subtract, and this one tells us to add. Awesome job. So, when we use the R in rename, what is it reminding you to do? It's reminding you to read the problem and pay special close attention to the sign. Awesome job remembering. Let's look at this problem and do step 1. Let's look. Our problem is 35 plus 18. So, let's read this problem out loud. 35 plus 18 equals... Awesome job. What's the special sign here that we have to pay attention to? That's right, the plus sign. We have to keep close attention to that. So are we going to be adding or subtracting since we're using a plus sign? Great job, we're going to be adding. Step 2 says, let's examine the ones column. 10 or more go next door. That means that you add the numbers in the ones column and think about the 10 or more sentence. Look at the bottom of your learning sheet and you'll find the 10 or more sentences. Let's read the first sentence together. After you have added the numbers in the ones column, if the answer is 10 or more, you have to take the 10 of the ones from the ones column and transfer them next door to the tens column. In previous lessons, you've done that with 10 ones blocks or 10 ones lines. In this lesson, you'll do this part of the problem in your head, using the 10 or more sentence to help you. Everyone, read step 2 with me. Examine the ones column, 10 or more go next door. Who can tell me what 10 or more go next door means? If you add the numbers in the ones column and the answer is 10 or more, you regroup or take 10 of the ones next door to the tens. Awesome job. Thank you. Great job remembering. 10 or more go next door reminds us to regroup when needed. In the problem, 35 plus 18, when I examine the ones, I add 5 plus 8 and I get 13. When I think of the 10 or more sentence, 10 or more go next door, is 13 more than 10? That's right, 13 has 13 ones. Thus, I have to take 10 ones next door and record them as 1 in the tens column. Alright, so instead of writing it horizontally like this, we are going to write it vertically. Horizontally lays on its side, vertically stands tall. So, now that I have my equation standing tall, we just said that 5 plus 8 equals 13. So, we have 10 or more, so we have to go next door. So what we'll do is we'll write our 1 up here at the top. We'll regroup our 1. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, so who can remind me of the first, what does the first E in rename tell you to do? That's right, examine the ones column, 10 or more go next door. Next, step 3, note ones in the ones column. Alright, so in this step we're going to note the ones in the ones column. So we said 5 plus 8 is 13. We already brought our 10 up, but we need to make note of what our ones are. So what ones goes down here? 3, right, so we bring our 3 here, and we brought our 1 up. Very good, so we made note of our ones. So, what does the N in rename tell you to do? Note the ones in the ones column. All you do is you write the ones part down. Alright, step 4 says address the tens column. 10 or more, go next door. This means that you need to add the numbers in the tens column and think about the 10 or more sentence. Look at the bottom of your learning sheet. Let's read the second sentence. 10 or more, sentence together. 10 or more, sentence for tens. This means that when you add the numbers in the tens column, if the answer is 10 or more, you have to take 10 of the tens from the ones column and put them next door in the hundreds column. In previous lessons, you've done that with base 10 blocks by circling the tens ones lines and drawing an arrow that points to the hundreds column. In this lesson, you'll do that part in your head, using the 10 or more sentence to help you. Everyone read step 4 with me. Address the tens column. 10 or more, go next door. Who can tell me what 10 or more, go next door means in this step? That's right, if you add the numbers in the tens column and the answer is 10 or more, you regroup, or take 10 of the tens next door, because 10 tens equals 100. Great answer. The sentence 10 or more go next door reminds us to regroup when needed. Let's do step 4 with the problem 35 plus 18. 1. We're going to point to our crutch number. So this is what we brought up. Everybody point to that. Great job. Alright, now we need to think. 1 plus 3 plus 1. What does that equal? 5. Great job. So we're going to write our 5 down. So we're noting our 5. Alright. Is 5 more than 10? No, it's not. So do we need to think about 10 or more and go next door? No, because we don't have 10 or more. If there was 10 or more, let's say this was like 15, would we go next door? That's right, we would have a hundreds column as well. But this isn't, it's just a 5, so we note it and we go on to the next step. Alright, who can remind me what A in rename tells us to do? That's right, address the tens column. 10 or more, go next door. I've done that, so I'm ready to move on to step 5. Mark tens in the tens column. This simply means to write the number of tens after adding. So that's what we just did. We wrote our 5. So on the M step, we are marking the tens in the tens column. So everybody say that with me. Mark the tens in the tens column. Wonderful. Alright, step 6, the last step. Examine and note hundreds. Exit with a quick check. This means to look to see if there are any hundreds to add. If there are some, then add them, and write the answer in the hundreds column. Then exit the problem with a quick check. This means to add the numbers in the ones column, the tens column, and the hundreds column again to be sure you added correctly, and to be sure you regrouped when necessary. If the problem does not have any hundreds to add, then you simply exit with a quick check. To do this, add the numbers in the ones column and those in the tens column to be sure you added correctly. Alright, in this problem, 35 plus 18. Are there any hundreds? Nope, we said that there wasn't. Right, so, thus, I need to simply check my work. 5 plus 8 is 13. I have 10 or more, so I brought my 1 up. 1, I marked my 3, okay. 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. That's not 10 or more, so I can bring down my 5 and mark that. Perfect. It looks good to me. Alright. Let's review. What does the E in rename tell us to do? That's right. Exit with a quick check. We have to examine our work and then exit with a quick check, just to be sure that we didn't miss any steps. Alright. Let's stop and think. There are 6 steps in the rename strategy. And let's make sure that you remember them and that I can remember them. Okay? Make sure I get them all right. Alright, our first step. What is step 1? The R step. That's right, we have to read the problem. That's correct. What does this step tell you to do? It tells us to say the problem aloud or to ourselves and pay attention to the sign. Good job, good job. Alright, now let's look to step 2, the E step. What is the E step? That's right, we have to examine the ones column and we have to tell ourselves 10 or more, go next door. And how will we do that? Correct, we have to add the numbers in the ones column first, and if the answer is 10 or more, we regroup by taking 110 to the tens column and by writing the crutch number in the tens column, just like we did in this problem. We wrote our crutch number. Alright, step 3, the N step. What is the N step again? Oh my goodness, I've completely forgotten. The N step, the N step. Note in the ones column. Wow, you guys are so smart. What does this tell you to do? It just tells us to write the number of ones in the ones column under the equal line. That's all it's asking you to do. Write the ones that you got. Alright, step A. What is step A? It's asking you to do what? Look at your 10 problem, your tens column. Address the tens column. 10 or more, go next door. But how will you address the tens column? Goodness me, how would I do that? By adding the numbers in the tens column. And if they are 10 or more, we regroup to form 100. And by writing the crutch number in the hundreds column. Excellent job. Alright, we're almost there. Step 5. This is the M in our problem here. We wrote our 5. Alright, E. What are we going to do? Examine and note the hundreds and exit with a quick check. So we're just going to see if there's a quick check that needs to be done and then move on. Alright, awesome job. And make sure that you go back and you check each column to make sure you added correctly. So we do our quick check by going back, counting our ones, counting our tens, asking ourselves 10 or more. Alright, I'm going to have you name all 6 strategies until you can say them perfectly without any mistakes. Alright, on your mark, get set, go. Alright, great job, class. Okay, so now while you guys are working on this paper here, I'm going to call one of you guys over at a time and I want you to tell me the rename strategy, all 6 steps, okay? Alright, if you need to keep practicing, keep practicing. Great job, everybody.